Welcome and aloha. Thank you for stopping by Brother Owl's garden, and I'm so happy to welcome back for her third appearance, which is a great honor, my dear friend and sacred soul sister coming to us from Hawaii. Let's all welcome my dear sister, Kahulahela.
Aloha, Brother Owl. So wonderful to be here with you and your listeners, your beautiful audience. So grateful for this opportunity. I just appreciate the opportunity to have these deep discussions, deep conversations with you, conversations that matter.
Yeah, likewise, as you know, and you know, this channel attracts only those kind of people who are open and willing and receptive to these kind of topics in the first place. And I am so thankful for them. And I hope that our viewers who are watching now will stay with us to the end because we got a good conversation right here. This is very timely. It's a bit sensitive. It's going to evoke some emotions. It's going to evoke a lot of contemplation and perhaps even some response, some action. So what are we talking about today, Kahu?
Well, first, I'd like to share with your wonderful audience an oli. And this particular oli is Oli Kaneholani, and Kaneholani is Kane, the heavenly companion, and it speaks of the long trail. So, what are we speaking of? We're actually speaking of the sun, the fire in the heavens. So, what we're doing is we're ushering in this light for humanity, and so I share this Oli to open us up. And to usher in this big light and this big energy, the mana of Kane, and which is actually the divine. As we had this beautiful conversation earlier, it is the divine masculine. So,
Okay, we look forward to you gracing us with this chant, this Oli. Thank you, Kahu.
yes, thank you. E kane holani e kane holani e aloha kaua. Kau ka hoku ho'okahi hele ki alalo aloha ka makuku kapa ka wahine. E wahine lohi au nana i ka makani. E makani lohi au haupu mai o loko e. E kane hoalani e kane hoalani e aloha kaua. Kau ka hoku ho'okahi hele ki ala loa, aloha ka makuku kapa ka wahine. E wahine lohi au nana i ka makani. E makani lohi au haupu mai o loko e. E kane hoalani e kane hoalani e aloha kaua. Kau ka hoku ho'okahi hele ki alalo, aloha ka makuku kapa ka wahine. E wahine lohi au nana i ka makani. He makani lohi au haupu mai o loko e.
Mahalo, Kahu, for that beautiful Oli. I felt really connected in that one. Thank you. Uh, Kahu, I'm kind of emotional today. I'm gonna cry. Can't help it. Even to just bring up the topic, I get all steamed up here. A month ago in Lahaina, that ancient and beautiful little town in the southwest corner of Maui, a tremendous tragedy occurred, which I think at this point everybody knows generally about, and maybe some of us know a whole lot specifically about. And the whole thing is not just a terrible tragedy, but it is pilau, which means it's rotten, it stinks. There's a lot of stuff coming out that a lot of us intuited from the beginning without having to hear the news report. We could sense it. And now it's coming out because the truth always comes out. The truth never needs to be defended. It stands alone on its own for those to see who will. For those to see who will see it. And I'm emotional about it. I know a lot of other people are emotional about it. Where do we stand?
Yes, thank you for having this platform for us to have this conversation. It's an important conversation to have, and I appreciate what you opened with, because there's a new term here in Hawaii, and you use the word pilau. So now it's politicians are now called pilauticians.
Deservedly so.
Pilauticians.
Love
the
it.
ones who did not respond at all for a couple of weeks to the Maui people. And the other thing you said was that the truth will show itself. Yes. And I love that there is an Italian saying. I don't know it in Italian, but they always say, they have a saying that says, truth is like oil. It always rises to the surface.
Absolutely. And we just can only hope that, those for whom the truth might be a contentious thing because it upends their narrative, the narrative they have chosen to embrace, which is bull. We hope that they can come around to a genuine, authentic acceptance of the truth when it presents itself.
Yes,
I know people who are not quite ready to do that yet because it's counter to their narrative they have chosen to believe. So
and one of the in these times of devastation and horrific events that are happening globally, this situation in Lahaina is the worst situation that has ever happened. Well, there was the very damaging tsunami in Hilo back in the day. I forget
1952, 53, right?
Yeah,
I think
around there. Yeah, which wiped out Hilo town and all of the people who lived along the shore there. But this is the worst fire that has happened in the history of the United States over the past 100 years. And what, there are some blessings that have come out of this horrific event, which I'm going to point out are the most obvious, is that now the world, Lahaina is on the map and everyone is watching. Everyone is standing for the people in Lahaina. We had a wonderful Hawaiian philosopher by the name of Auntie. We call all of our elders Auntie Pilahi Paki, and she prophesied that one day the world would turn to Hawaii because of the Aloha spirit. And I feel that that time is now. I feel that the world is paying attention and that people are coming together and awakening because of it in this very moment. People who were not awakened are becoming awakened. And so through this devastation, some incredible things are being birthed. And what we know is that when Pele goes through with her fire and she just is the destroyer, she comes through and she just destroys everything in her path. But she's also cleaning house. So she's also got this magnificent power and force to say, no, I'm coming through and I'm going to clean house. What she does though is Pele, she brings her sister, Hi'iaka. She carries her in an egg. Hence her name is Hi'iaka Ikapolio Pele. Hi'iaka in the bosom of Pele. Hi'iaka comes in after her and plants the seeds for new growth. And hence the ohia tree comes up out of the dense lava and just this barren field of lava. And that to me is the resilience of the Hawaiian people. And that to me is showing right now, the people of Lahaina are showing the world what the Aloha spirit is. And this is televised, is publicized, it's in social media, everywhere it's being just blasted out there. In every channel, YouTube, you name it. Everyone is vying for the people of Lahaina. And all the eyes are on this. And there are incredible acts of kindness, of love, of aloha that are happening in spite of what the government, how the government has acted over the past couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. Despicable acts, like not even that we can go on and on into all the details, but we know what the details are.
I think that there's definitely viewers from different parts of the world that do not know what those details are. And we don't want to make the whole conversation about them, but we should touch on them at some point. Could I respond to what you've said so far?
Yes.
You said Madame Pele comes in and cleans house, just like she did in 2018 with the Kilauea eruptions that cleaned out some areas of Puna or whatever where, you know, it's kind of things were not Pono over there. And all of a sudden, all that's just been purged and cleansed out. And now she's doing it. The eruptions are coming again on the Big Island. And I see that as not just metaphor, but metaphor in action of that's the action that I feel rising up in me now. The good people, the Pono people of the world, we cannot lay back passively and lazily and just as a bystander. We can't, because the evil and those who are on board with the evil and are thus part of it around the world is now steamrolling over us. And you know, I did the whole episode on evil, which I encourage everybody to please watch. It's a big one if you need to watch it in a couple of pieces. But the ultimate conclusion of that message about, you know, what to do about evil, absolutely never participate in it, and also never allow it. Have nothing to do with it and don't allow it to be. That I feel that when we talk about Madame Pele running through and purifying with lava. That's, the essence of purifying fire. That is the sacred masculine aspect. And carrying with her her sister, Hi'iaka. Did I say that correctly? Because I don't remember if her name. Yeah, Hi'iaka in the egg. That is pure feminine. And also the egg is universally symbolic of birth and rebirth. That's why people hide Easter eggs in the spring, all that kind of stuff. Eggs mean fertility, rebirth, the continuance of life. That is the sacred feminine. But that sacred feminine follows behind the sacred masculine in the case where it is time to clean house. And that is a rising up of the yang energy, the yin yang. The yang energy is the masculine, the yin or the yin is the feminine. And they both are equally precious and necessary and good and complementary. But as the book of Ecclesiastes says, there's a time and a season for everything. My take and how I'm feeling is that, just like Jesus spit on the mud and rubbed it on the eyes and compassionately and gently healed the blind man that had been born blind, he also went to the temple with a bullwhip and whacked that thing and flipped tables and kicked ass and cleaned out the vermin who were doing all kinds of, they had monetized the temple basically. And so there's both aspects, and they're both good and right and complementary, but it's not always one or the other that is the prescribed response. And I know that we may respectfully take different stances, or not, but that's where I'm at. I have a righteous fury burning in me right now. And I will go so far as to say that even though I'm not Hawaiian, I did live there for 6.5 years. I do have an energetic connection to the people in the place, even though I'm not one of them per se, and I'm not born there and all that. On an energetic spiritual level, that is solid with me. Even though in this lifetime I was born in another place in the body of another race. It kind of doesn't really matter at the level that I'm functioning at. And when this happened, man, I cried. And not just sadness, rage, absolute rage at this global cabal that is totally anti-life. In every way, they are anti-life. In every aspect and every angle and every opportunity that they can, they are anti-life. Wherever there is life, we will end it, suppress it, or enslave it and keep it down. And when they hit Lahaina with this evil, it's too much. And it's around the world. It's happening in Canada. It's happening in many places around the world. Just look for a few minutes on the internet. And when this happened, I was enraged. And if I were still living in the islands of Hawaii now, I would be right out there at the forefront for the effort and the movement for Hawaii to recapture, to reclaim its rightful, divine right of sovereignty and autonomy. I would be all about it. And if I were a Hawaiian, a Kanaka Maoli, forget it. I'd be leading it. If I was Kanaka Maoli, I would be leading that. And I want to see that happen, even if in a practical sense, it's extremely unlikely because of the strategic importance of Hawaii to the military and how much the government is seeped into the place, just on principle. And I very much want that to happen. But maybe there's another stance, and maybe it's, it may very well be the case that I am operating on a level that's a little lower than a higher level of understanding, where I would be, like Rumi said, beyond good and evil, there is a field, meet me there, beyond good and evil. But it would not be authentic of me to say that I am there right now, because I am not. Where I am right now is righteous fury that is bursting to take cleansing and purifying and just action against the tyranny and the tyrants themselves that have gotten on board with this evil, have compromised and sold out their souls to the agendas that are being forced upon us around the world, and which I'm not sorry to say, I'm sad to say that, maybe 2/3 or so of humanity just can't be bothered with opposing. It's too much trouble. Just roll right over us. I'm sorry. I don't respect that. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I respect where you're at as well. And I do know, however, that there are, because I live here in Hawaii, that there isn't one person here who agrees with what the governor or the mayor of Maui is doing or has done. It's total disgust. It's 100%. If it's not 100%, I would be surprised. But then they would have to be military or government employees. And everyone who I know and everyone in social media are blowing this thing up. I too, as many of my friends, we were all pissed off. I was pissed. We've been crying for weeks. But I came to a place where after the anger, I was able to turn it around and say, okay, what can I do? Rather than being angry, what can I do? How do we, what do our people need?
Well, you see, that's kind of the crux of where we're at as we talk about this. We are expressing how we feel, and it is a tsunami of feeling. And I believe it is Pono. I believe it is righteous anger and rage. Rightfully so. It is correct. But we of course do not want to just kind of contain that and harbor that in our hearts so that we become bitter, ashen shells of who we are. We don't want that vitriol and everything to be turned in on ourselves or to fester in us. So the question is, because I want to see very swift, powerful, extreme, and effective, redemptive action taken. That's what I want. I want, as we said with Madame Pele, clean house. And I don't mean just, oh, you need to resign, you've been a bad boy. No, I'm talking about way more than that. Way more than that. But the question is, so how do we transmute the energy of the anger and the righteous fury and frankly the heartbreak that is within us now? How do we transmute that? And what is the wise thing to transmute it into?
Yeah, and that's a great question to ask, because when you ask questions like this question, then you receive, I know for myself, when I ask, what can I do? Then I get the immediate response. And where does this response come from? Divine Spirit, the universe, my guides, my higher self, to give me my marching orders. What can I do? What difference can I make? And like you're saying, turn that anger and transmute that energy, that's powerful energy, into transmuting the heaviness, the pain and the suffering, so that we have to clean house. I feel it's really important that we clean house for ourselves first here in our kino. So we don't,
Absolutely.
as you're saying,
Always.
we don't carry around that pain and that heaviness. Because then when our kino is clear, is clean, then we can do work, and Keakua can work through us. And we give ourselves up to Keakua, to divine spirit, to say, okay, what would you have me do today? What, who should I see? What should I do? Where shall I go? How can I be of service? And that is the beautiful thing that I see happening here in the islands, is that people are coming up out of every corner of the islands and the continent, the United States, and around the world, providing service and support and helping in whatever possible way. There were containers, 30 containers sitting here in Honolulu, ready to be shipped to Lahaina, to Maui. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, maybe people don't know some of the details of what had transpired during and immediately following the fire on August 8th in Lahaina. They, number one, there was Hurricane Dora, who was passing south of us, and there was speculation that because of her high winds, her route just south of the islands, that she would create high winds, which would then fuel the fire. What we have learned since the fire is that Dora was 500 miles south of the Hawaiian Islands, which she would not have affected the winds whatsoever. And so, however, there were high winds that day, and there were fires that had started. And it is claimed that there were some, because of the high winds, that there were downed power lines, which started wildfires in brush in areas in Lahaina and up in Kula and even on Hawaii Island. And the high winds caught the fire and carried it, and the whole town of Lahaina, as we saw, was one big dark smoky just fiery landscape. People could not see the cars trying to drive, as we've seen in these videos, cars trying to leave Lahaina. They could not see in front of them. The smoke was so thick. And at that point, many of them had to jump out of their cars because the cars were not moving. Why were the cars not moving? The egresses were blocked. The one road in and out of Lahaina was blocked by the fire department. I mean, the police department. So that's a big questionable thing right there. The other thing is there were no sirens. Sirens had not been, they were not, the sirens were not executed. They had not been sounded to alert the people. People did not know. They were in their homes. They had no idea. People were sleeping. I had one story of this woman with five children, and she's hapai, very, very pregnant. I think she was in her 8th month, or no, she was giving birth in a couple of weeks. she her children kept telling her, "Mom, it's hot. It's hot." And she goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it's hot. Yeah, it's okay." They're like, "Mom, it's hot." And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they're like, "Mom, there's a fire." And she's like, "Oh my gosh." And so she grabbed whatever they could grab and her kids, and they ran out of there. They had to beeline it on foot. And she is ready to give birth in 2 weeks. Now, of course, the whole house, everything gone. That's just one story of many, 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 many. And if anyone's on Instagram, you can go to on Instagram, Lahaina underscore Venmo underscore Ohana. Lahaina underscore Venmo underscore Ohana. And I'm
Kahu,
sorry.
can I ask you just
Yeah.
did you hear about the hero guy named Koa? The guy who went with his pickup truck, he went back into the burning town and rescued wave after wave of people in his pickup truck.
Yes.
And the last that I heard, I sent out prayer requests for him. Our mutual friend Val told me about him, um, that he was badly burned and he was having like cardiac failure from smoke inhalation and stuff like that. Do you happen to know about him, or is there any update on him, Koa?
I don't have any update on him. No.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of other heroes that we just don't know about. That you know you have a small historic town made a lot of the buildings made of old wood, timber, things like that, and a lot of dry grass on the hillside. And it was coming from Mauka, right? The wind was coming from the mountains down to the shore, and between the peak of the mountain and the shore is Lahaina near the shore, but behind that is all that dry grass hills, and that is just beyond tinderbox. And yeah, one main road running through this town, both ends of it blocked. Let's block the road. There is a massive inferno engulfing this little town at breakneck speed with 40 to 50-mile-per-hour winds, occasional gusts of up to 80 miles per hour. Let's block both ends of that. Let's trap them in there. And you know what? And I'm going to say this with a grit in my teeth, the obedient ones died. If I had been there, you would have seen some action. Even if I was driving a little Mini Cooper, you would have seen me fly and rail into those cop cars and push them out of the way and get everybody out, or allow everybody to get out. Because, and this is gruesome, but what was left of the incinerated bodies of the people in those cars was not even identifiable. They had to use DNA from teeth and things like that. It's almost as if they wanted as many of the landholders and property owners, people, as possible to be gone, because they were clearing this place out to build the smart city that they agreed to 6 months ago and started talking about 2.5, 3 years ago. And a smart city is a cage. A smart city is a cage for slaves, where everything you do will be monitored, controlled, and limited and denied. You are not allowed to travel too often. You are not allowed to go too far. You are not allowed to purchase too much of this or that. We will block you off. The reason why this global cabal, Klaus Schwab, George Soros, all of them that are in it, some of them are obvious, most of them are not. Their goal is to eliminate as many useless eaters as possible, corral as many of them as possible into, corrals, slave cities, okay, where they will then regulate every aspect of your entire life. And this cannot happen. And this is what I see is trying to get a foothold now in Hawaii and many other places in the world. And you've got these European countries that just can't embrace this willingly fast enough. They're so off the charts in that direction. They just can't bring it on fast enough. And this is why I am enraged. I personally will have no part of this. Yes, even if it means, and I suspect that at some point it will mean, my own personal demise. But I also know that the party ain't here and eternity ain't here. And I haven't always been in this body and I won't always be in it. But that doesn't mean that anybody has the right to threaten, usurp, enslave, or destroy my body, my life, my existence on this planet. We are all sovereign, autonomous, free, divine beings. I wish that we could act that way a whole lot more, but at the end of the day, we are that. And all the stories I'm hearing, I also heard a story, I cannot verify if this is true or not. There is some confusion in the fog kind of thing, but I heard that there were iPhone photographs of witnesses who took pictures of 183 bodies that washed up on Lanai, the little island just south. I cannot verify if that's true, but a lot of the people, as many of us know, jumped into the ocean. They jumped into the water to get away from these fires. They were that bad. You have to understand, the wave of heat will knock you out and kill you. It's incomprehensible, the heat. And it incinerated all the boats in the harbor. And there was burning fire on top of the water from the debris that was blowing in and landing on the water. And after a certain number of layers, the water itself was a sea of fire in some places. And some of these people didn't make it. And then there's the question that was put to the mayor, who, by the way, is one of the most arrogant piece of crap people I've ever seen in my life. Can't even be bothered. He's offended to be asked, what about the children? And when we say, what about the children, we're talking about, this was supposed to be their first day back at school, and they were told, stay home. It's not like they went to school and then they were bussed back. It was, nah, don't come to school. School's not going to happen today. All these kids stay home. Well, all these working moms and working dads that weren't expecting that and didn't know that was going to happen were off at work. And a lot of these kids went back home alone. And this fire came.
And yeah, and the police even stopped parents from coming back into Lahaina,
right,
who wanted to go save their children. They wanted to get to their children at home.
Yeah. See, and I'm sorry, but that's where Brother Owl turns into Brother Silverback Gorilla, because that's another aspect of me. And I would have gone full metal Silverback on them. I would have died rescuing my kid if it came to that. But what I would not have done is let my kid die so that I obeyed. People are so confused. They think that obedience is virtue. And they also think that you have to obey. Well, you know what? What are you obeying? Some authority figure who's going to tell you, oh, I don't know, it's just following orders. Yeah, so were the Nazi internment camp soldiers who killed thousands and thousands and thousands of innocent people. They were also following orders. That's why I mentioned before, the obedient are the majority of who died in those traffic jams with roadblocks, prohibiting them from leaving a raging inferno that descended upon them like an avalanche. And there were a handful that said, nope, and took it upon themselves, and they're alive. And I want everyone to remember that. because
Yeah.
there is righteous disobedience as well as righteous anger.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of the other facts that we know are that the water was turned off.
Right. People were trying to hose down their house and put out other fires, or at least try to save some of their own property. The water was not only, it wasn't just a matter of like, oh, low pressure, everybody's running. No, it was shut off. The sirens, the tsunami warning, civil defense emergency sirens were not activated. They could have been, and they just weren't. The decision was made very clearly not to do that. And then that public official saying, oh, for reasons of equity. Okay, there's that woke stuff I can't get into. But do you mean that everybody dies equally on an equal footing? Everybody gets killed? Is that what you mean? And then no water in the water mains. And I don't want to discredit the Maui Fire Department in any way. I have family that's fire chief and everything like that. Not there, but elsewhere. But I don't see any heroic stories of them. I don't even see any video footage of them doing much. Now, maybe I missed that, but I've been scouring and seeing, I've watched dozens of videos and documentaries firsthand of what's been going on. And the other thing that we didn't mention yet is that apparently cell phone towers were also mysteriously out. And the SMS emergency, alert signal that could have been sent to all mobile phone devices never happened. And the children were told, nah, don't come to school, stay in your house.
Yeah, it's just been one the perfect storm, right?
Yeah. And not just that, Kahu, but the immediate influx of the vultures, the real estate crowd coming in and calling people who just 2-3 days ago lost loved ones and their home and everything they ever owned. It was all incinerated. I should say it was all incinerated except for things that were the color blue. Plastic umbrellas on street side cafes, which were blue, did not burn. Blue lawn chairs did not burn. Blue roofed homes did not burn. And you can look up about why on your own. Okay. But gee, funny that, huh? But these vultures came in. Oh, you like sell your house, you like sell your land, all this kind of stuff. These people are still in trauma at tremendous loss of loved ones and homes and possessions. And then the next wave is the governor, Josh Green. Is that his name? Yeah. Josh Green.
Yeah.
Oh, no. We're going to stop that.
AKA Josh Greed.
Josh Greed. I would have called him Josh Greenback, but yeah, okay, Josh Greed.
Yeah, or Josh Gangrene. That's another.
Yeah, we can come up with a whole lot. Josh Green, real Hawaiian name. But anyway, so he comes in and says, oh, no. We're going to put a freeze on that. You're not allowed to do that. We're going to do it. We're going to come in and see how we can, quote, acquire these lands. Okay. So you know what that tells me? Here's one bully coming in and pushing another bully out of the way, acting like he's saving you. And now he's going to bully you. It's
right.
and
he said, and we're like, this was like maybe a week later or after the fire or something like that. I forget exactly when he said that, but when he went to Lahaina and he said that we're going to buy this land, or we're going to take this land and we're going to turn it into a smart city, and we're going to erect a memorial.
Yeah, that's a
like,
little kind of assuaging people to not be too violently angry and upset. Oh, no worries, we're going to make one monument for the fallen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you know what? Pilau.
Yeah.
Pilau. Everybody needs to learn that word. It means stink, rotten. Something smells in Denmark, that kind of thing. So that's some of the background. Well, I just want to reiterate again that I can't remember the mayor's name, but he was confronted by
Bison.
Bison,
Yeah. Mhm.
and he's the one was and we didn't even get to the police chief yet. We didn't even get to him yet.
Pelletier. Yeah.
Yeah, so hold on for that. But when I saw the footage of this mayor being asked point blank, what about the children? How many of the bodies that have been found are children? How many of the missing are no? There was 1,100 people unaccounted for. I don't even know where the number stands today, but I don't believe they have found that many people or bodies.
They're claiming that I heard the other day 66 people have not been accounted for. I'm like, bull crap.
Okay, so let me see the remains or the living person, and let me see the funeral records and all this kind of stuff. But you know, they can't be bothered. The attitude of this mayor, Bisson, when that guy put the question right to him, what about the kids? How many kids have been accounted for? What is the number on the kids? All of our children who were told to stay home, and a tsunami avalanche of fire came through swiftly and burned everything up. Where are they? What is the stats right now? And his attitude was like, oh, if you're gonna come at me with that kind of a mood or that kind of energy, then you know we're done. We can just be done. In other words, if I don't like that you're angry and that you're upset about this, I can just choose not to answer you. And then his handlers around him, oh, sorry, no comments at this time. You know what? Good thing I still don't live there. I would be on these people. I would be on these people like an infection. I can't be okay with these people being allowed to be this way and to commit this evil and to get away with it and to maybe be forced or pressured reluctantly into stepping down. Oh, that'll teach you. You don't have this position anymore. By the way, you're just going to be given another position somewhere else later, like the police chief, who was originally in Vegas and presided over the greatest massacre of people that ever happened in the United States. And then next thing you know, he's gone from there, reappears in Lahaina, is immediately made the police chief, instantly requests a higher salary, is then granted a salary higher than he requested, and waived the requirements for the police chief, that you know, the requirements of who can be hired under what terms. Never mind, we are putting you in this position because we have something bigger we need done, and you're the man. So don't let that get in the way. And oh, your salary, you know, you asked for a raise. We'll give you even more than you asked for. And as a cherry on top, we're also going to make you the coroner. So the police chief, who is handling the legal enforcement end of this tragedy, is also the one who signs off on who died, how, and why, and how many.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for those that didn't know
Right.
all these details, there's a big chunk to give you a good idea.
There's a big chunk. Yeah. And Bisson used to be a judge. He was formerly a judge. But there was something else that I wanted to share about Bisson. But yeah, just a bully. He's another bully. And Pelletier,
Pelletier is the police chief.
Is the police chief. Yeah, Pelletier, John Pelletier. He said that they did not block the egresses. And there's been count after account after account of people who walked past because they had to walk by foot. They walked past these because they couldn't get through by car.
We
so
saw
they
the
walked.
videos. We saw actual video footage. We saw the
vehicles,
real-time
the police
testimonial of Fish, the local guy that's known in the town as Fish, who gave the accounts of, yeah, well, People were burned to death in their cars in a line of traffic because they were forbidden to leave the inferno. We've made the point.
Yeah. But so Pelletier is all of them. They it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting.
Kahu,
So
it's more than disgusting. It's unacceptable. I'm not okay with this blowing over. I am not okay with this. We have had enough of this kind of engineered catastrophe. There's a lot of examples we could cite, but we're keeping it local on this one. And it's not the last. Many, many more are in the works and are coming. And I just have this very heavy-hearted feeling that in the next 2 to 3 years, are we going to see them come, boy? Because this cabal has grown impatient. And as I said now, is steamrolling over a complacent, tired, uninterested population of future slaves. The majority, not all, thank God, not all, but too many. Okay, I can definitely say that. Too many. That's how I see it. Can't help it. Not sorry. I'm not sorry that I see it, but that's what I see. So how do we transmute this? How do we transmute it? This rage within us, this heartbreak, this anger, this indignance, righteous indignance, because we're not wrong to feel these things.
no, absolutely not. We're only human. We're all human.
I think we're not only human, but we're being human. Okay, we're being human.
when we because of our emotions, we have every right to feel how we feel. And however, as you mentioned before, to not be stuck there. And
Right.
what can we do? What can we do with this energy, this ball of energy that we are carrying around with us? We can put it into good use. And as I mentioned earlier, cleansing, doing the cleansing first on ourselves, so we're not harboring, we're not carrying pohaku boulders within us. Because if we're clear, then Keakua source can work through us and as us and within us. And so we can be of service in a way that will help to transmute and help to heal, because of there's so much healing that needs to happen. Yeah, healing the land, yes, but the healing of people, of the healing of loss, of grief, of everything. I mean, imagine all, like, what is a day, you wake up in the morning and you start out your day with, what am I going to do today? These poor people in Lahaina who have nothing, who they've been put up in hotels. Okay, that's great. But then now what?
I have to just throw in one more comment as an aside on that. They've been put up in hotels, except for the 5-star hotels that the FEMA people who have been doing nothing but standing around looking official are occupying in their Maui vacation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oops, I'm sorry. I mean, many of the rooms were denied the locals. Yeah.
And the FEMA people were the very ones taking the supplies that all the donations that showed up at the many different distribution points, that the grassroots organizations that just all of a sudden, they had these supplies pouring in from Maui, from outer islands, to food, clothing, water, the necessities. And FEMA came and confiscated. And they're, the people were like, how can you do that? These people are suffering. The people,
you see, but that's what I'm saying. The people stood there in shock and disbelief and said, what are you doing? This is not enough. This is when the people bind and join together and stop them from doing that, because it is anti-life. Oh, this is not official government. Okay, you know what? Not only did they confiscate these supplies, Kahu, they blocked them. And many people had to come in with their own private fishing boats from the water rather than using the land. They had to load it from one part of the island, take it by boat over to the harbor to another part, and hope they didn't get blocked. And even jet skis, people, you can see the videos, people passing from jet skis and going to the shore and passing, clean drinking water and food and diapers and everything that these people needed.
Yep.
As they say in the pidgin, dialect, if I was there, I'd going snap. I'm sorry, and I'm not sorry. I'm not.
No,
sorry.
yeah, there's nothing to be sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, FEMA was even blocking people who had brought home cooked meals to deliver into Lahaina to families who were still there.
Yeah. So what
Because
needed
it
to happen
wasn't
is the blockers
certified.
needed to be blocked. The blockers needed to be out. No, you cannot block. Oh, you can't bring this home cooked meal that you have made to serve to the people who have lost everything and have no food and nothing. No, you are what needs to get out. And I watched this video. There's a guy that has a YouTube channel. His name is Steve Poplar. I kind of enjoy watching him sometimes. And he was one of these rescue workers that would go in disasters, and all this and rescue. And he said he wasn't with FEMA. He was with local organizations. And he said FEMA was always one or two people came in with a clipboard, stood around, watched what was happening, took notes like they were an overseer, wasn't really doing anything. And I have a very dear friend who works for the Red Cross and loves it and does great work and all that too, but there's a lot of pilau stuff coming out about that too, about the Red Cross. Don't give your money. Don't give if you are looking to help by sending money, donations and all that. I would highly discourage anybody from sending money to large organizations. In fact, let me ask you this, Kahu, and this is coming to you live and unrehearsed, so I don't know if you know this or not, but do you happen to know of any direct, authentic, real people who have a GoFundMe or a PayPal or whatever that, look, we are genuinely wrecked and we genuinely need help, and we're real, actual people who this is not a scam, because there's always scams when these things happen. Do you know of anything like that? If you do, I'll put the link in the description on this video if anybody wants to help somebody who's a real person, a real individual who's hurting, who's really there. But no organizations. I don't endorse that at all.
If anyone's on, I think I mentioned earlier, if anyone's on Instagram, there is the Lahaina Ohana Venmo one. That's really that shows you a photograph of a family who lost their home and their Venmo QR code. And they have a little backstory on them. And it's a great, and you're seeing like hundreds of these pictures of families and single parents and the elderly and, just all different walks of life, all these Lahaina residents. And they are receiving directly into their Venmo accounts. And so that we know for sure it's getting into the hands of the people. There are also other, and I can send you these links later, but there is also another GoFundMe fundraiser. I don't know the name of it right now, but some friends of mine in Lahaina have put together, they have 501c3, and they put together a fundraising account, and they are going to be distributing the funds directly to the families, but they're figuring out how to do that.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Somebody
Yeah.
who is real, who you really know, or someone who you know and trust really knows. I've done things like that here in Thailand too, where I personally directly know these people who are suffering. And, I posted out, if anybody would like to contribute, I am doing, a charity effort for them. If you'd like to join and be part of it. And I took photographs of the money. I took video of me handing them the money and counting it and accounting for it, because I I don't want anybody to even question. It's got to be Pono. And so for those who would like to help, I will get these links from kahulahela, and I will put them in the description. And it is according to your heart. Okay. Now back to the transmuting. You talked about we need to cleanse ourselves. I think we need to do that in a couple of different dimensions. Not, of course, the spiritual, the releasing, the purging. That's very sacred feminine stuff, letting go of, identifying and letting go of, and releasing and cleansing. But also fasting. Fasting is really effective. And if anybody is able to do a fast of any kind at any level, fasting helps to move down the amount of drive and desire, craving, base desires, cruder things, denser things. It lets that settle down, and the spirit to rise up higher in the correct hierarchy of your being. And
Right.
I've been trying to get a video on fasting done for literally months. And it should be coming out very soon. But I think that I would like to just add, the spiritual includes the physical, and
Yes.
fasting is really good for that. And also
Yes.
detoxing. Do
Yes.
a detox
Detoxing.
of your choice,
Mhm.
and,
Yep.
cleanse
And
everything out of you.
no animal, no sugars, no carbs. And if you can do this for a period of so many days, this is what I just did this for a month recently. And so you feel so much lighter and clearer, and the fog lifts, and you feel very in tune with your body, and your body is, drinking a lot of water. And so you just feel uh you feel clearer, and you can think more clearly, and you're happier. You're less dense and less bogged down with any artificial ingredients. The
Yeah,
sugars are just so nasty, so bad for us. And just pure food. If you can, have more pure food, raw food, fruits and vegetables, wonderful. And
yeah.
just a lot of water.
All of that is, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not. If you're in the habit of eating whatever you want, and that includes meat and carbs and occasional junk food or something like that, no, it's not easy. But I will equate it to hot yoga. Years ago, I used to do hot yoga. I hated doing hot yoga. It was agony. And after I did it, I felt like I was just born, and my mana, my chi, my life force was bursting. So, maybe the process is arduous and a little bit difficult. No worries. It is worth it for what you get from it. So don't get hung up on oh, this is too hard. And you know what? Also be nice, be kind to yourself. If you can't do all of it, do what you can of it. Well,
Yeah.
I can't give up meat, but I can cut out carbs and sweets. Okay, do that. And other little things, like not just what you abstain from in fasting, but also what you take in. Take in, as you said, whole and pure foods. The closer to the sun, the better. And foods that are medicine. Turmeric. Turmeric is medicine for 5,000 years in India before it became a culinary herb, and it's still medicine. Turmeric, fantastic for immune system, arthritis, inflammation of all kinds, and also seasickness, motion sickness. Ginger, similar, fantastic. Cloves. Cloves kills parasites and bacteria and fungus that grow in your body, none of which are doing you any good, only bad. Purge them out with cloves. You can make a tea and drink it every night or whenever you want. You can drop a couple of cloves in your coffee grounds if you're drinking coffee and brew them in there. You just get it in you. Pulverize them into powder and take them that way. Garlic, similar. It helps to flush out parasites, boost the immune system, also your sex drive too. So, there's that. But there's so many good foods. Black walnut hulls pulverized, kills parasites and bacteria in you. Also wormwood pulverized. So these are things you can use, like Madame Pele, to clean house. Clean your house, clean your body, clean your mind, clean your soul, your spirit. Yes, we have this righteous fury, this righteous indignance and anger, but what are you going to do with it now? Consider it a ball of flaming energy. How are you going to convert it into action? And one of the actions that you might choose to do is to help one of these direct families that are hurting. The links are in the description. And also to be resolutely and steadfastly solid that you will not have any part of this coming into your life. You will not allow it where you see it. You will not tolerate it passively, because silence is complacency, and complacency, you're going to be bulldozed right over.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so what are some of the things that I've been doing is I've been putting my energy into teaching many people are curious what Ho'oponopono is, the traditional Ho'oponopono, which is not the I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Okay, let's
It's not the
get
meme.
clear on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so what we know about Ho'oponopono is that it was a conflict resolution, a healing of the relationships within the family. And however, nowadays, we ourselves have uh, a challenging relationship with ourselves. Many of us, we need to heal our own relationship with ourselves first. And so I've been guided by my guides, my spirit guides, they said, can you put something together to help people to heal themselves? Because we're carrying around so much heaviness, so much density, so much unworthiness, pain and suffering, trapped emotions, just from all the news, everything that we're seeing in the news today. So they're like, what can you do? And so we co-created together what is called Hana Pono. So whereas Ho'oponopono is about healing the relationship within the family, Hana Pono is healing your relationship with yourself. And so we begin with pule, with prayer, and setting intentions. So anybody can do this, just setting your own intention of what it is you want to release, what is it you want to let go of, and then what are you going to replace it with? Because we don't, and like in Lomi Lomi, Hawaiian massage, we can remove, we work in the physical layer, the emotional, mental, and spiritual body layers. And not just in the physical, but all in these other layers as well. And so when we're cleansing, we're working in these areas, and we're pulling out the blockages that you can feel when you run your hand over and across the body. We can feel where there's something there. It's your hand kind of pushes up against it. So it's combining Lomi Lomi with breath work breathing, using your ha to inhale to that area where you feel discomfort. You use your ha to breathe to that area. And on the exhale, you are pulling out and releasing. And it's best if you're near a body of water, or if you are out in nature where you can release it and have it be transmuted. And it's best if you do this work during the daylight before the sun sets, so that it will be transmuted to the light. And best if you're standing barefoot out on Mother Earth, because she too, you can just send any of this heaviness, anything that you want to release with through your breath and your intention, and send it into Mother Earth, because she will take it and she will transmute it. And your breath is so vital to this process of releasing, and not shallow breath, but deep breathing. So inhale through your nose, exhale out your mouth, and make that ha sound. Ha. And do this, and you can cleanse, from your po'o. This is your piko po'o. This is in the Hawaiian culture, there are three piko: your po'o, your vaina, and then your ma'i. Your piko po'o, your piko vaina, and your piko ma'i, which is your root chakra. So we're going from our crown to our na'au, our gut, which is the piko vaina, and then our root chakra, which is our piko ma'i. This is so the piko po'o is you're connected to all of your kupuna and your ancestors all the way back to the beginning of time. And when you clear this, you're connecting to source. You're connecting to all of the ancient ones. You're connecting to your DNA that goes all the way back to the beginning of time. And so this is the past. You're connecting to the past. And then here in your na'au is the present. Your piko vaina is the present. So it's all the people you're connected to in this lifetime. And then your piko ma'i is all of those that all your descendants, all of those who will come after you. And even if you're someone like me who has not given birth, I have many, many loved ones that I'm connected to, the next generations, my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And so I consider them my descendants as well, because they too have my koko, my blood, my DNA, through my brothers. And so in this way, when we're clearing and, using, through pule first, setting your intention, what it is you want to release, what it is you want to replace it with. And as you're going over these areas, you are inhaling and exhaling and clearing and sending that to be transmuted to the light. And you do it throughout your body, over all your energy centers, even here for women especially. You want to clear all of the obedient ones who didn't speak up. You're clearing all the unspoken words, and you're with your ha releasing. And the minute you do that, you feel right now, I feel all chicken skin going up and down my arm. And that's when you know that, yes, in fact, you are releasing. And so, but we're not only releasing, we're filling in with the light, and we're calling in the light from the great central sun. We're calling in the light, and we're filling in with the light from source. And we're filling in our body, and we're having this light trickle down throughout. And what happens is you're removing all of the density, all of the pohaku, the boulders, the rocks that get stuck here and there. We don't see them, but we feel them. And that's why sometimes we may feel like pain in our neck, or pain right around the shoulder blades, or pain in lower back, or pain in the hips, or pain in the knees, this is our body speaking to us, letting us know what it is, where is the density, and what do we need to focus on, and
Yeah.
what needs to be released. So
Yeah.
this is a process that I teach, and that's what they have taught me, is to take that ball of energy and turn it into something, be creative. What can you create that will help your brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
And that's what I do with that ball of energy, because I know that if I cleanse myself, and I can help other people to cleanse themselves, then they too will be able to think more clearly and take effective action.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
And I can relate to, when you said like pain in the neck and pain in the ass, because I'm often called both of those things. So, but no, it's good that you mentioned this. You reminded me of another major point from the mega episode on evil that I did recently. It is wise and far more effective to invest your energy in building and feeding and cultivating what you love, instead of railing against and battling and fighting what you oppose. So I oppose this evil and corruption and everything, but transmute that rage, that inferno in you, transmute that into Pono action to build and support and cultivate and maintain and feed what reality and situation you want and support, as opposed to fighting the one that you hate. And I just have to say, Ollie stepped in to say hello to everybody. So there's
Hi,
Ollie.
Ollie. Oh, look at your eyes, are so bright.
He is
Oh
a
my
teddy
gosh, he's
bear.
beautiful eyes.
Yeah,
Hi, Ollie.
he wants a little attention from me. Kahu, could I respectfully offer one idea for the protocol that you just mentioned? You open with the pule, the prayer. I would just suggest that even before that, that we ground. And I did an episode called Grounding and Anchoring. If anybody wants to look it up, it's a good one. Ground yourself energetically before you do anything spiritual, no matter what it is. First step, ground. And just real quick, what that would be is get into a comfortable position, whatever that is for you, and then envision what you called the pico ma'i, right? Your root chakra area. It's actually the perineum at the base of your crotch area. You would envision in your mind's eye, you would see a cord. A pure silver cord is what I like to do, but whatever you want. And you see it connecting to the very center atom of the earth, the very centermost atom of this earth, connecting energetically like battery cables, like the black cable on a car battery. Boom, ground first. And then think of the red cable as what I like to call connection to the divine, which you referenced many times. That would be from your crown chakra going up. And you would imagine a beam, a powerful but narrow beam of bright white light with baby blue edges, bluish white light. That is the energy of source, the divine creator, Keakua, God. And so while you have anchored and grounded from below, you now connect to the highest divinity above by that beam of bluish white light. And in that sense, you are now activated as the transceiver that you actually are. Transceiver. You send and receive and send and receive. You are a conduit. You are a conduit. And so energetically, I would just offer that we do that. And then once we feel that connection is active and solid, begin the pule, because now your pule is really activated and powerful, because your energy is anchored in Pono, and connected. Everything is about connection. And our species, humans, have lost so much connection, and there's so much push from the world, whatever, to keep us in a state of disconnection from divinity, source, spirit, community, family, intuition, self, nature, all of it. There's so much push to disconnect and keep us disconnected, so that we really need to be very mindful and present to being connected. And then, as you said a couple of other times before, then Keakua, divine source, can come and work through you. Not my will, but thine be done. I am a vessel of the divine will, which is infinitely and incomprehensibly higher, purer, and more Pono and good and right than any idea I could come up with about what I think should be done, kind of thing. Let me be a channel of your peace. Prayer of St. Francis. I highly recommend, if anybody is not familiar with the prayer of St. Francis, please look it up. Use me as a conduit and vessel and instrument of your divine will to heal and make right and bring light to everywhere that is out of harmony. That's what the prayer of St. Francis is. I highly recommend, no matter what religion you are familiar with or not, or whatever, prayer of St. Francis. So yeah, in this way, when we ground and connect above and ground below first, then the pule, boy, that's charged now. Now you're there. You're in the flow stream.
This is what we do in the practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just conducted a healing retreat, a 2-day healing retreat in Waimanalo. And we went out to the shoreline there. We're at a wonderful beachfront home. And so we walked out there and we did our protocol out there to connect and to ground, to center, to ground and connect with source. And then we came in and we did our Hana Pono, and everyone works on themselves in day 1. Day 2, we switch it around and you work on another. So you can help out your family, your friends,
Your cat.
Your cat. Yes. Your beautiful cat. So I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you here. It's so wonderful that we can go on and on. We can just there's so much to talk about. And there were other things
I
that
love
I
you.
wanted.
I love you, Kahu, and you're easy to love.
Oh, as are you, my brother. My brother. Yes.
You are my sacred soul sister.
Yes.
It's not, I want to say it's rare to have such a clean, authentic connection with people, but the ones that you have that connection, when you recognize it, I didn't expect to get emotional. I'm a sap. I can't help it. But when you recognize that you have that soul connection with somebody, they are sacred. They are your sacred soul family here on earth, incarnate with you. They are members of your sacred soul tribe, or your soul family, most of whom are in spirit form, disincarnate or yet not incarnate. But there are a handful that are here with you. And when you recognize that, you keep those people sacred and honored and respected and loved and close to you. Give them the majority of the energy that you have for your relationships, and value them. And as the world around us seems to be getting darker and denser and more difficult in so many ways, those relationships become exponentially more crucial for our well-being, mutual well-being. You know, we're all helping each other. And what I love about this Hana, the Kahana
Ikapono.
Ipono,
Hana
Hana
ikapono.
Ipono, this protocol, this system that you're offering, it fits completely into the wisdom of the Indian gurus and sages and others. Ramana Maharshi and Ram Dass both said in their own ways, the greatest thing you can do for the world is work on you. Your own self-transformation is the greatest gift that you can give to the world. And it sounds like, oh, I'm working on me. I'm putting my energy into my own cleansing, purification, ascension, and transformation and awakening. It's not selfish. That's your charge. That's your duty. That's your kuleana. That's what you're asked to do. You work on you. And as it so happens, that is the greatest gift you can offer to the collective, the community, the species, the global family. So what you've offered in Kahana Ipono is exactly that. The greatest gift, the greatest thing I can do for you is work on me. The greatest thing you can do for me is work on you. It's true.
Yeah.
And you've
Yep.
offered a method.
Yep. And it's all through the guidance of my guides. And I always say that I am not a healer. I am a conduit. I'm a vessel for source to work through me. And because of that relationship that we co-created this Hana Ikapono together. And again, I am not a healer, and anyone who applies this to themselves and does this work for themselves will heal themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
I have not come to heal you. I have come to love you. Love will heal you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hana Ikapono. Sorry if I got the words mixed up before.
Okay, that's all right.
Hana
Yeah.
Ikapono is available for you, courtesy of our beloved and sacred soul sister, Kahulahela, who has come to us from Oahu and graced us with yet another big chunk of her presence and wisdom and charm. And boy, we sure love you, Kahu. Thank you so much. Mahalo,
You.
Nuiloa.
Wonderful to be here.
Malamapono, kako.
Mahalo. Aloha. Ahui ho.